I thought this one was really interesting. It's something we've never tried, but I'm fascinated by it. And Zapier, which is a company we use a lot. I'm a huge Zapier fan. I was just in there today playing around doing web automation. That's what we use them for. And over the summer, they did an experiment where they just canceled all of their meetings. And they wrote an article about it in Fast Company, and then it was picked up by Cal Newport and other people. And so one of the content writers, like I said, did this write-up about it in Fast Company. And what she said is she was finding that she was spending 10 hours a week in meetings. And that's just for her. She's not a super high-level person. For managers and executives, it was even worse. And what they found is that many people had reported that they were spending more than half of their work week participating in video conferences. And so Zapier wanted to find out like how critical these real-time pre-scheduled collaboration sessions really were. And it was in this context, they created something called the Getting Stuff Done Week, where they wanted to see if they got rid of all meetings, what would happen. And Zapier's People Ops team did a post-experiment survey, and what they found is that 80% of respondents would want to do another Getting Stuff Done week in the future. 80% of respondents achieved their goals for the week. 89% of respondents found that communication to be about as effective during Getting Stuff Done week as during a typical week. And it made me think of our move to meeting day. So for those not familiar, we consolidated all of our meetings to one day so that it would free up time so that we could get stuff done on the other days of the week. And that has been super effective for us. We found that, but it really made me wonder, is there something to just doing these experiments, getting rid of everything? I'm of two minds of this. Nobody likes sitting in meetings. And I actually tried something like this back when I worked in corporate. I did an experiment where I said, okay, we're not going to do department meetings anymore. We all had IM. We communicated via IM. Most of us were sitting in the same area anyway. So I figured, what's the point of spending all this time having meetings when we could just communicate real time? And it definitely freed up a lot of time, but I did feel that something was lost a little bit. I feel like there is some value of taking time to just get all together on the same page with time booked off for sharing experiences and learning. So it was good and bad, I would say, for us. But I'm just curious, Tan, about two things. Number one, what do you think of this idea of getting rid of meetings for a certain period of time or forever? That's number one. And number two, what do you think of this concept of doing productivity experiments? Do you think it's worth it, or does it just make people cranky when everything goes back to normal? Because Zapier did only do this for a week. It's not like they made this change permanently. What do you think?
Personally, I'm all for trying new different things, especially when it comes to experiments, being more productive and combining them somehow. So the fact that they tried this and found it very beneficial, I think is very enlightening. And I think it's something, when I read about it, I thought, oh, maybe that is something that we could do as well. And having also a meeting-free week seems really appealing to me in itself. Even though we have one day dedicated to meetings, even that day in particular is not that long anymore. It's relatively short nowadays too. So the fact that we could consolidate all of our meetings on one day and still do it in maybe less than 2 hours has been very freeing for many of us here. But going away from it completely seems like a crazy idea, and I'm open to trying it. However, I think there are certain meetings that are still valuable to have around having alignment, because I just can't imagine having a demo or a sprint review done asynchronously. I just don't see that being very effective. Whenever we have demo meetings or retros, having them in person or quote unquote real time seems to be very effective, and we get a lot of like learnings and insights, and we actually solve a lot of problems, which has been very effective. It's going 100% remote seems like a great idea, but we've also found that when we have team retreats or we get together in person, there's still a lot of value to be had from being together in the same room, collaborating in the same room, and sharing ideas that way, and training and cross-training and sharing knowledge, so that we still have the baseline of, okay, we're a remote company, but we still meet in person every now and then. Same thing with this. I think it makes sense if you're in a company where you have a lot of meetings to every now and then get stuff done a week. And that seems really productive, and I'm sure people are loving it. But I think the root cause of all of this is to say, yeah, we have all these meetings. Like, how do we eliminate them more and more so we have fewer and fewer, so that people can focus most of their time to do the things that they need to do? So maybe in a bigger company, a meeting day might be a little challenging, because there's just so many departments and meetings and so many people involved. However, if we make our meetings a little bit tighter, shorter, optional as well, I think it can also solve a lot of those problems.
I was thinking about our sprint review meetings. That's a perfect example because I can think of lots of examples where we're demoing something, sharing something, and just like an idea spark. And it might be something I had never thought of, but then when you are showing something or Marmel is showing something, all of a sudden I think, oh, wait a second. And it's not like people can record videos and stuff like that. So it's not, you can definitely replicate a lot of it, but I think I'm all for doing this on an experiment basis. And maybe what Zapier might do is do this every summer or something like that for 2 weeks or something like that. That's what we've done with some of our productivity experiments, which I think doing these productivity experiments are great as long as you make it clear up front that it is a experiment and it is temporary. You want to set those kind of expectations. That's really important.